Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Headbangers Closet. So tomorrow's Halloween, and it got me thinking, like, what are some of the great, Halloween and horror movie inspired, albums? Like, I'm a big horror movie fan, love them, watch them all year round. But in October, I try to do that, like 31 Days of Horror, where I watch one movie every day through the month of October. A lot of good ones I've watched so far this month as well. But, this is a heavy metal channel, not about horror movies. But to me, the Halloween and horror go hand in hand, right? My all-time favorite horror movie is Halloween. So to me, those go hand in hand. But so many great metal albums, songs inspired by Halloween and horror movies. So I started thinking, like, what are some of the big ones, like some of the ones, like, the go-to, like, when you think of this album, you think of Halloween, or vice versa. When you're thinking of Halloween, you think about this album or artist or song. So there's so many of them, and I got a couple right here, just off the top of my head. The easy, you'll see here in a second some of the easy, like, low-hanging fruit, but like Frozen Souls, latest record, Glacial Domination, the lead vocalist, his favorite movie is The Thing, and there's, I think, the last three songs. You got Frozen Soul, Assimilator, and Best Served Cold. Those are all inspired by the movie The Thing. And then, of course, you got King Diamond's Abigail, like the whole story of this, this album is all just classic kind of horror themes and Halloween themes. Of course, Return of the Vampire from Merciful Fate, same thing. And of course, you have the obvious, the song Halloween from the Fatal Portrait album. But those are the easy ones, like the ones everybody kind of thinks of when they think of, the Halloween-themed and horror movie-themed albums. Like, there's so many of them. I could do, like, a 3-hour video of all the albums I have that there are songs inspired by horror films, the album covers inspired by horror films. But to me, the one that kind of stands apart from all of them is Iced Earth's Horror Show. Now, this thing came out in 2001. At the time, it was the last studio record to feature Matt Barlow on vocals. He left. Tim the Ripper Owens of the Judas Priest fame came in and did the album The Glorious Burden, which is really, really cool. I liked Iced Earth's entire catalog up until that album, and then it kind of got off the ride. And I know Matt Barlow, if I'm not mistaken, has come back fairly recently and done an album with them. I'm just not really into the band anymore, but it is good, American traditional heavy metal with some thrash elements in there as well. Just good stuff. From the late 90s to the early 2000s, Iced Earth was putting out some quality albums. But the reason I chose Horror Show is because almost every song on this album is inspired by a classic horror film. Now, when I say classic horror films, I'm talking about, like, Wolfman, The Mummy, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, that type of stuff. So, just really cool that, not only is the music cool, but there's good subject matter, just cool tunes, right? So, kind of go to the track listing, and then I kind of tell you why I like the album so much and why I chose it. But so self-explanatory here. The first song was Wolf. And then you've got, it's Wolfman, then Damien, inspired by The Omen. And then you've got Jack, which is Jack the Ripper. And then you've got the only song on the record that really doesn't fit the horror theme. And that is a song called Ghost of Freedom, which is about September 11th. Not really going to get into anything else, but if you know John Schaefer, you know that he's, like, into, like, military stuff, and, like, so you kind of see why he wrote that song, I guess, but it doesn't really fit on the album. So then you've got Hyprotep, Pharaoh's Curse, which is about the mummy. And then you've got Jekyll and Hyde. Then Dragon's Child, which is about the creature from the Black Lagoon. And then you've got the Iron Maiden cover, the instrumental Transylvania, which sounds really, really good, by the way, and it fits greatly with the theme of this album. And then you've got Frankenstein, again, self-explanatory. And then you've got Dracula, and then the album concludes my favorite track on the record, the Phantom Opera Ghost. It's like this long, like 8-minute, rock opera marathon of just a killer metal song, which kind of goes a lot of tempo changes. But the reason I like this album so much, and why I think you guys should give it a listen, and why I chose it for this video, is because the songs, when they play a song like Dracula, they're not just playing the plot of Dracula, right? Or the movie The Mummy, or Creature from the Black Lagoon, or The Omen. They're not just playing the song and telling the plot of the story. Each of these songs is sung in such a way, written and performed in such a way, it's like the point of view of maybe a character in the movie that you might not be like the main character of the movie, right? So the Omen, I believe, is sung in the kind of like the point of view of Damien's mom, right? Like the adopted mom. The Dracula is sung in the point of view of Dracula, and it tells the story of how he became Dracula. Like, why is he the way he is? Like, it's because his one true love was killed, and now he's freaking Dracula, right? Like, he's so mad and just heartbroken and angst-ridden and everything. He wants revenge on the groups of people, the Christians who killed her. So it's written from his point of view and why he's the way he is. And then, like I said, my favorite song on the album is the Phantom Opera Ghost. And that song, Matt Barlow is singing, and you've got a female vocalist, and they're singing, like, each verse is like one, the female will sing, then he'll sing. And it's basically this, he fell in love with the girl. He was like the guy in the basement of the theater, I guess. I'm not really super familiar with the story, but anyway, so she was like the understudy of the famous superstar at the show. So the Phantom Opera guy kills the star, so the woman he loves can be the star of the show. And it works out. They fall in love. She's a star. It's great. They're going to live happy and live after, and then things go a little awry. He's getting a little creepy for her, and she's weirded out, and he's like, whoa, wait a minute. How could you betray me like this when she wants to, like, break it off? I made you the star. I killed for you, and now you're the star, so I got to have my revenge and kill you now, too. Really, really cool song. Goes back and forth between the two of them. A lot of tempo changes. There's some really cool, like, fast, thrashy riffs in there as well. Just cool song, and pretty much the entire record's like that, like, just different takes on classic horror movie films that we all kind of know to this day, right? So that's why I like it so much. It's also like a killer cast of guys playing on the record. You've got, Matt Barlow and Schaefer. I don't know who's on the other guitar, but, Christie is on drums. He's been on drums for Iced Earth a bunch of times. And you got Steve DiGiorgio on bass. I think that's the only time Steve DiGiorgio plays bass on Iced Earth albums. So it's kind of like their best lineup of the band's incarnation, I guess, if you will. The best lineup on this particular record. It just sounds really, really good. The songs are great. And like I said, all the way they perform them and sing and how it's done is just really, really cool. And like I said, it's a great take on these classic, horror films. So that's why I chose this one. If you've heard this one, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you hadn't, definitely give it a listen. It's on Spotify and streaming services, and you can find the CD fairly cheap. I don't think the vinyl's available, but I have the CD for a long time. Haven't listened to it in forever, but great stuff. Still holds up. So give it a listen. Let me know what you think about it. That's my choice. I'd like to see what you guys have to say about it. What are your choices? Leave me a comment below what your choice is for like the best, Halloween horror movie, themed album for this month and for Halloween. So let me know, and love talking about it with you guys. So appreciate everybody checking out the channel. Hope everyone has a great Halloween tomorrow, and I'll have another video for you guys very soon. Cheers, everybody.